The year was 5025. Earth had changed beyond anything people from the past could imagine. After centuries of war, humans finally realized that fighting solved nothing. 3,000 years had passed without a single war, not even a small battle. People now lived in complete peace. Cities floated high above the oceans and forests, powered by clean energy from the sun and stars. Buildings were smooth and shining, covered in gardens and flowing water. On the ground, Earth was full of life again. Animals, forests, and rivers thrived without pollution or destruction. Children grew up learning about kindness, creativity, and science. They studied history too, but wars seemed like strange, sad stories from another world. Violence was not just illegal, it was considered foolish. People no longer built weapons. They built art, music, and new ways to explore the stars. William Carter was part of this new Earth. At 29 years old, he worked as a peace envoy for the United Galactic Council, the organization that helped planets solve problems without fighting. His job was important, but most days it was very quiet. William sat in his office, a bright room with walls made of glass that showed the endless blue of the Pacific Ocean below. His desk was clean, except for a small tablet and a cup of steaming tea. Outside his window, small airships floated by like slow-moving clouds. William smiled as he sipped his tea. Today felt like any other peaceful day. He had spent the morning settling a small argument between two colonies on Mars about the best place to build a museum. No shouting, no threats, just polite discussions and a handshake at the end. Life was simple. Life was good. Just as William leaned back to relax, a small silver drone buzzed quietly into his office. It blinked a soft blue light and spoke in a gentle voice. "Urgent message from the council," it said. William raised an eyebrow. Urgent messages were rare, very rare. He tapped the drone, and a holographic screen appeared in front of him. It showed a short, serious message: emergency, unknown broadcast received. Immediate attention needed. William stood up slowly. He placed his cup of tea on the desk and straightened his gray jacket. His mind raced, but he stayed calm. It was probably a technical error, maybe a strange signal from a faraway planet. Still, he felt a small twist of curiosity and something else deep inside him. He walked through the bright hallways of the council headquarters. Other envoys moved quickly too, their faces tense. Outside, the floating cities drifted peacefully in the warm afternoon sky, unaware of any danger. William looked out at the world one last time before stepping into the council hall. He smiled to himself. Whatever this was, it couldn't be too serious. Not here. Not now. After 3,000 years of peace, the idea of real danger seemed impossible. He was wrong. The council hall was a large, round room made of glass and silver. From every wall, holographic screens floated in the air, showing the news from across the galaxy. Usually, the room felt calm, almost sleepy. Today it buzzed with low voices and hurried footsteps. William Carter walked to his seat at the long, curved table where Earth's top peace envoys gathered. His heart beat a little faster than usual, but his face stayed calm. The council's chief envoy, an older man with white hair and bright blue eyes, stood at the front. His voice was firm. "We have received an unusual broadcast," he said. It was sent directly to Earth, not to the United Galactic Council, not to any other planet, only to us. The lights dimmed. One of the screens grew larger until it filled the room. The message played. At first there was only static. Then the screen cleared to show a towering figure. It was a creature unlike anything Earth had seen. It had dark, scaly skin, sharp teeth, and 4 glowing red eyes. Heavy armor covered its chest and shoulders, and a long black cape hung behind it. The creature spoke in a deep, booming voice. "I am General Vrothkar of the Zorthian Empire. Earth, you have grown weak in your peace. You have forgotten the strength that comes from war." The hall went silent. William leaned forward, curious. "Tuming. We, the Zorthian Empire, declare war on your planet. Prepare for battle." Surrender now and we may spare a few of you as slaves. Resist and we will crush your floating cities and scatter your ashes across the stars." The message ended. The screen went dark. For a few long seconds no one moved. No one spoke. Then from somewhere in the hall someone chuckled. It started small. A short surprised laugh. Then another. And another. Within moments the entire room was filled with laughter. William grinned. He couldn't help it. War. After 3,000 years. The idea was so strange, so ridiculous, that it felt like a joke. One envoy wiped tears from his eyes. "Is this some kind of prank?" he asked. Another shrugged. "Maybe it's a publicity stunt for a new space movie." The chief envoy tried to stay serious, but even he smiled a little. "We cannot ignore the message," he said. "Real or not, we must respond carefully. William Carter, we are assigning you to lead Earth's response." William stood and gave a slight bow. "It will be my honor," he said, a playful sparkle in his eye. As he left the hall, he thought about the strange message. Who would declare war against a planet that didn't even have weapons? And how could anyone be serious about fighting now in an age where peace had proven to be stronger than violence? He didn't know yet, but one thing was clear. Earth's answer would not be fear. It would not be anger. It would be something much stronger. It would be laughter. William Carter sat in a small private room at the council headquarters. The walls were smooth silver, and in front of him floated a holographic screen, glowing softly. He took a deep breath and pressed the button to start the live transmission. The screen flickered, and then the face of General Vroth Kar appeared. The alien was even more terrifying up close. His armor was dented and scratched from old battles. His 4 red eyes burned with anger. Thick scars ran down the sides of his jaw. Behind him rows of warships hovered in a dark sky. Vroth growled the moment he saw William. "Earthling," he barked. "Send me your leader. I demand your surrender." William smiled politely. "Hello, General. My name is William Carter. I'm Earth's peace envoy. I'm here to talk." Vroth sneered. "Talk? There is nothing to talk about. Earth has become weak. We will crush you. You will kneel." William leaned back calmly. "Crush us? Are you sure? We have very dangerous weapons, you know." Vroth leaned closer. "Weapons? We have seen no sign of them." William nodded seriously. "That's because our most powerful weapon is invisible." Vroth narrowed his eyes. "Explain." William grinned. "It's called common sense." For a moment Vroth said nothing. Then he roared in anger, shaking the screen. "You dare mock the Zorthian Empire?" William shrugged. "We don't have time for old-fashioned wars, General. We are too busy building music schools, art galleries, and amusement parks." Vroth's teeth clenched. His 4 fists slammed against the control panel in front of him. "You think this is a joke?" William smiled wider. "Of course. War is the biggest joke in the universe. Haven't you heard?" Vroth's face turned a darker shade of gray, a clear sign he was furious. He pointed a clawed finger at William. "Prepare your planet for destruction." The screen went dark. The connection ended. William sat back and sighed. He knew Vroth was serious about attacking, but he also knew something else. The Zorthians had no idea how to deal with a world that refused to be afraid. A soft chime rang. It was the council calling him back. As William walked through the bright corridors, he made a plan. If Vroth wanted a battle, he would get one, but not the kind he expected. There would be no weapons, no ships, no blood. There would only be laughter. The real battle would be fought with smiles and jokes, not with lasers and bombs. William was ready. William Carter returned to the council hall with a determined look on his face. The other envoys waited for him, their faces a mix of worry and curiosity. He stood before them and spoke clearly. "General Vroth is serious. He believes we are weak because we love peace. He thinks fear will make us kneel. But we are not afraid. We are going to answer him in a way he won't expect." The chief envoy leaned forward. And how do you suggest we do that? William smiled. We will meet him, not with weapons, not with armies. We will meet him with humor. Some envoys raised their eyebrows. Others chuckled softly. It was an unusual idea, but it fit Earth's spirit perfectly. William continued. We will invite Vroth to a formal war meeting. But instead of threats and battles, we will show him the power of laughter. We will hold a grand event where we treat war as the foolish thing it really is. The chief envoy nodded slowly. It is risky, but it is also very human. Do it. Without wasting time, William organized his team. They turned the council's main hall into a stage. Giant screens were set up. Comedians, artists, and musicians were called in to prepare performances. Holograms were built to show the history of Earth's past wars. Not with sadness, but with humor, pointing out how silly and destructive war had always been. Engineers designed giant floating banners with messages like "Declare War," "How 2000s of you," "Make jokes, not warships." William personally wrote the opening speech. It was sharp, funny, and impossible to misunderstand. It told the story of a world that grew tired of hurting itself and chose laughter instead of fear. Meanwhile, far above Earth, Sorthian warships moved closer. Their huge black hulls covered parts of the sky. People on Earth looked up, saw them, and shook their heads. Some even waved. On the news, talk show hosts joked about the invasion. Remember to welcome our alien guests. Bring snacks. Breaking news, Earth under threat. Please remain calm and hilarious. William watched all this with pride. Earth was not panicking. Earth was not afraid. Earth was laughing. The day of the war meeting finally arrived. General Vroth sent a message confirming he would attend. His warships would remain just outside the atmosphere, ready to attack if needed. William stood on the bright stage under the clear sky, adjusting his simple gray jacket. The floating cities shimmered in the distance. Behind him, performers prepared their acts. Screens flashed funny images from Earth's past. As the Zorthian shuttle approached the landing pad, William took a deep breath. Today they were not fighting a war. Today they were showing the universe a better way. The real battle was about to begin, and Earth was ready to win it with a smile. The Zorthian shuttle landed with a loud thud on the council's landing pad. It was large, black, and shaped like a jagged stone. From it, General Vroth stepped out, surrounded by a team of armored guards. They marched forward, heavy boots shaking the ground. William Carter stood calmly at the top of the council hall steps, smiling. He wore a plain gray suit, no armor, no weapons. Behind him, the stage was set. Bright banners floated in the air, showing colorful messages like, "Welcome, warriors. Please check your weapons and your egos at the door. Peace is cheaper than war. Ask any accountant." General Vroth scowled at the decorations but said nothing. His red eyes glared at William. "You waste time with jokes," Vroth growled. William smiled politely. "We take laughter very seriously here." Vroth snorted and stomped into the council hall. His guards followed, their faces hard and unamused. The hall was filled with Earth's best comedians, musicians, and performers. The crowd cheered as Vroth entered. They clapped and waved signs like "Hugs, not lasers," and "Smile. It's contagious." Vroth sat heavily in a large chair at the center of the hall. William took the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, and honored Zorthian guests," William said, his voice echoing. "Today we discuss war, the ancient art of wasting time, energy, and lives." The crowd chuckled. William continued. "We used to fight too. We fought over land, over pride, over who got the last slice of pizza." A giant hologram appeared behind him, showing two ancient human armies charging at each other, slipping on banana peels and bumping into trees. The crowd roared with laughter. Vroth shifted uncomfortably in his seat. One by one, comedians took the stage. They joked about Earth's violent past, showing how ridiculous old battles had been. They made fun of generals who wore heavy armor only to trip over themselves. They joked about kings declaring war because they didn't like each other's hats. Even the musicians joined in, playing songs that turned old war speeches into silly dance tunes. At first, the Zorthian guards sat stiff and silent, but as the performances went on, something strange happened. One guard let out a small chuckle. Another smiled. Soon, a few were laughing softly, trying to hide it. Verith's face turned darker and darker with anger. He slammed his fist on the chair's armrest. "Enough," he roared. But his voice was drowned out by the sound of Earth's people laughing. Not at him, but at the foolishness of war itself. William walked calmly to Verith and offered him a small gift, a golden flower that spun and squeaked when touched. "This," William said kindly, "is our strongest weapon." Verith stared at the silly toy, his fists clenched. He looked around and saw his own soldiers struggling to keep straight faces. For the first time in his long violent life, General Verith Carr realized he was losing a battle he could not fight, not with weapons, not with fear, but with something far more powerful. General Vroth Carr sat frozen in his chair. The golden spinning flower still squeaked softly in his hand. All around him, laughter filled the council hall. It was not cruel laughter. It was warm, bright, and full of life. Vroth's soldiers shifted nervously. Some tried to stay serious, but many had already given up. One Zorthian officer wiped tears from his eyes, struggling not to laugh out loud. Vroth rose from his seat, towering over William Carter. His red eyes burned with anger and confusion. "This is not a battle," Vroth shouted. "This is madness." William looked up at him calmly. "In our world, peace is not madness," he said simply. "War is." The room fell silent for a moment. Everyone waited to see what Vroth would do next. Vroth turned to his guards. He saw their faces, some smiling, some shaking with silent laughter. They were no longer the fierce warriors he had led into countless battles. They were changing. He looked back at William. "You think jokes can protect you?" Vroth growled. William shrugged lightly. "They already have." Vroth's fists tightened. His whole body trembled with frustration. In his mind, he thought about the worlds he had conquered. He remembered the fear, the silence, the defeat, but here there was no fear. No silence, only laughter, and the strong, simple refusal to be afraid. For the first time, Vroth felt powerless. He tapped his communicator and barked a command in his own language. On Earth's outer atmosphere, the Zorthian warships slowly turned away from the planet. The threat was over. General Vroth threw the golden flower onto the ground. It bounced twice and squeaked again. Without another word, he marched back to his shuttle. His guards followed, some glancing back at the humans with puzzled looks. William watched him leave, feeling a wave of relief and pride. Earth had won, not with lasers, not with bombs, but with the one thing stronger than war: laughter. As the Zorthian shuttle blasted back into space, the crowd in the council hall erupted into cheers. William smiled and waved at them. The battle was over. Peace had defeated war once again. The day after General Vroth left, Earth woke up to clear skies and peace. The Zorthian warships had disappeared into the stars, leaving no trace behind. The people of Earth celebrated in every city, every floating town, and every small village on the ground. William Carter stood on the grand balcony of the United Galactic Council building. Below him, thousands of people gathered, waving banners and colorful flags. The air was filled with music, laughter, and joy. News screens across the world flashed headlines. Earth wins first intergalactic war without firing a shot. Peace 1, War 0. General Vroth defeated by Earth's strongest weapon, humor. William stepped forward and spoke into the microphone. His voice carried through the air, strong and calm. "Today," he said, "we showed the universe that peace is not weakness. Today we proved that laughter is mightier than any weapon." The crowd cheered. He continued, "For 3,000 years we lived without war, and today we defended that peace not with fear, but with courage, creativity, and humor." He smiled and added, "Let this be a reminder to all. True strength is not in how loudly we can shout or how hard we can strike. True strength is in how calmly we can stand, and how joyfully we can live. The council announced that a new celebration would be held every year to remember this day, the Day of Laughter. Schools added new lessons to their history books. The story of how Earth faced an alien empire and won without lifting a weapon. The power of peace, humor, and unity. Statues were built, not of warriors with swords, but of people laughing together, holding hands across cultures, species, and planets. William Carter became a symbol of Earth's peaceful spirit. He continued working as a peace envoy, visiting other planets, spreading Earth's message of laughter and hope. Some said that even General Vroth, somewhere in the deep galaxy, kept the little golden squeaky flower as a strange, silent reminder. And so, life on Earth continued, bright, free, and full of laughter. The planet that had once known war had now become a beacon of peace for the entire universe.